Well, greetings to all my investment clients. My name is Walter Measers, your wealth manager, CPA tax advisor. As promised in my other video, weekly stock market recap, that I want to record a video talking about it is a crisis, tax breach crisis, and your tax return, and actually all your other financial information that's really at risk. Again. This is becoming a big issue and affects over 272 million people in the United States. And unfortunately, I was one of those people. I found out last week that somebody filed a fraudulent tax return under my Social Security. Again, I want to stress there was nothing that I did wrong. I have very high security on all my computers. No, it was because my Social Security was in this breached data by one certain company. So I just want to share this with you and make you aware that it's out there, it's real, and I don't want anybody to pretty much be in that situation where, hey, I should have done something prior to somebody taking your information and then either filing a fraudulent tax return or potentially opening up some bank credit cards or loans in your name. So what happened? What is National Public Data? It was run by one owner from his home in Florida. He was a retired sheriff, started gathering data. It was legal because a lot of data is public. So he wasn't doing anything illegal. He was just searching through whether it's municipalities, government entities that had information on individuals in public databases. So he used this. He was gathering data on individuals for background check and data broker. So such as an employer wanted to do a background check, they would most likely go to these data brokers or somebody, and that data would most likely come from National Public Data. So he's scraped public records without your consent. So again, he wasn't really doing anything illegal because, again, that word public records, and anybody can have access to it. So he gathered 2.9 billion records collected. It's worldwide. He just didn't do it in the United States. It was a worldwide phenomenon. So what did he gather? Full name, Social Security number, date of birth, current address, past address, phone number, family members, and on and on. I forgot to mention this presentation is both in English and Polish because I was talking on the radio, WNZK. Both. I do a program every Saturday, 8 in the morning in English, 8 to 8:30, and then 8:30 to 9 in Polish. So again, that's why there's dual Polish and English language. So what's the timeline, the breach timeline? December 2023, National Public Data was hacked. April 2024, data sold on the dark web. In August of 2024, it was pretty much dumped for free on breach forums. So bad actors. January 25, first fraudulent returns filed. 2026, it's an ongoing problem and issue. The scale of the problem? Well, in the United States, around 272 million individuals. Your information is most likely out there, meaning your Social Security, tons of other information that could be public at this point. And again, it's nothing you did wrong. It was really national public data. They were breached So there's nothing that I could have done, nothing that you could have done to avoid this. But the reason I'm talking about this, you should take steps or measures to make sure that you're protected. And I think I mentioned, and unfortunately last week I experienced that. My Social Security was used to file a fraudulent tax return. I'll go into detail exactly what happened. So the other 25 million Americans, another broker data, Conduent, 672 million records, Infutor, these were all breached. So potentially $5.5 billion of tax fraud identified. So it's becoming a serious problem. The question is no longer whether your Social Security was compromised. It most likely you are on that list. It's just a matter when somebody may decide to target you for filing a fraudulent tax return or some other things such as filing for a new credit card. So who was breached? National Public Data, that was probably the biggest. AT&T, Change Healthcare, Conduent, a government contractor, Infutor data broker, Citizens, and Frost Banks, LexisNexis. So these were all pretty recent. And unfortunately, there's going to be more because with AI, artificial intelligence, systems are getting smarter and smarter. So it's critical, in my opinion. Unfortunately, I learned the hard way. No damage done to me because the IRS did alert me. But immediately I took some steps that I want to share with you what I did to make sure that you don't experience what I did. So there, whoops. Sorry. So what's the timeline before hackers start to use your data? Why did fraud start in 2025? Well, the breach was in December 2023, so you would have thought it would have been immediate. No, it takes time. Hackers sell, doesn't file, they wait, data is enriched. Tax fraud is seasonal. So typically, we're talking now for income tax season. So January through April, window only. So they waited and they started to deploy in January 2025. And we saw, as we were doing tax returns, it was kind of odd that clients were getting strange letters, in my opinion. And I said, I'm not sure what's going on, why. But those were signals that this data is really out there and in the wrong hands can be abused, such as filing false tax returns. Why didn't the media tell you? This should have been blasted all over the news. I usually watch news, and meaning news where I get alerts. And as a CPA, you would think, like the MICPA, Michigan, which is an organization for CPAs, AICPA, which is national, you would think they'd be blasting to us that, hey, this happened and your clients may be at risk and you need to educate your client. None of that happened, so this is very, very strange. 8 months of silence, National Public Data told no one until after 8 months. So it was already too late. 2.9 billion records seemed too big to believe. So some people, that's a scam. It's hard to believe that many records could have been compromised, but unfortunately, they were. So many reasons why the national media or financial media really didn't pursue this. That's the unfortunate part. So the most important now is, remember, there's nothing that you did wrong or I did wrong. The sad part is there was things beyond your control, my control. That data is out there. It's just a matter of, is your social and other information out there? And most likely probability-wise, it's pretty high that most likely it is out there. So action number one, IRS protection PIN. That's the first thing I did. Once I found out, the only thing is you have to create an IRS account. It's a little bit more challenging now because they want proof that it's really you. I'm not going to go into detail of how to open it, but it'll walk you through. You have to have your driver's license, have to have a smartphone, you have to make a picture of your driver's license, upload it, then you get a link, and then that link, there's facial recognition that recognizes, matches your driver's license picture to your face, and that's really in a nutshell how you open it. So that's step one. If you don't have an IRS account, if you don't, I strongly recommend that you do, because that's the only way you can create a 6-digit PIN. With that PIN, once you get that PIN, meaning going forward, 2026 and forward, you'll have to do this, unfortunately, every year to get a new PIN. Nobody can file a tax return without that PIN. So that's a very good safeguard. If they try to file or e-file on your behalf without that PIN, it'll get rejected. Fraudster has your social, but it's useless without a PIN if you create the PIN. So enroll your family member, including your spouse. You must renew, unfortunately, every year because that PIN does expire. So what actions should you take? First, IRS PIN. First, you got to create an IRS account. Credit freeze. I did that immediately. Meaning, what's a credit freeze? The three big, credit agencies, Equifax, I forget the other ones. There's free access, and you can go to those websites and request a credit freeze. What does that mean? It doesn't mean you can't use your credit card. What it means is nobody can get a loan, get a new credit card, because they have to tap into these credit agencies, and if it's locked, they have no access. You would have to give permission. If you're getting a loan, you'd want to tell the institution, wherever, that, hey, I need to unfreeze my credit. And once they pull your credit history, you freeze it again. Now, if, in my case, somebody filed a fraudulent tax return, so immediately I filed Form 14039, which is identity theft affidavit. All you're saying, hey, is somebody filed a tax return fraudulently on my behalf. I want the IRS to know that it was not me who filed this tax return. You'd also want to check your Social Security earnings record. And again, once you create this ID Me login, you will also be able to log into your Social Security account. State of Michigan, you also would file a separate form. You'd also want to check your children's Social Security for any tax fraud. File a tax return early. If you have a PIN, no worries. It doesn't matter when you file. So what are these freeze your credit? And here's the 6, but 3 major is Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, Innovis, NEC2, Check Systems, the 3 big ones. These are major, and each one of those you can go to their website, and there's a free access that you go in, and you can freeze your credit. Strongly recommend that you do that. I did that. So, kind of a recap. Step 1: if you did suffer identity theft, file Form 14039 with the IRS. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to mail my tax return, and I'll attach Form 14039. I also filed State of Michigan identity theft report. I forget the form number. Also, enroll in the IRS PIN immediately. Again, you've got to have, you would go to irs.gov/IPPIN, but you have to have an IRS account. Unfortunately, when you paper file and there was a fraudulent tax return, it may take 12 to 18 months for a resolution timeline. So you have to be patient. In other words, if you have a refund, it may take a while. They want to make sure it's really you that's filing the tax return. So take action today. If you have questions, give me a call. I can walk you through it or help you open up, the IRS account. But I strongly, strongly encourage you, don't wait, because, you most likely your information is out. I did a lot of reading after what happened to me, and it blew my mind how much data is out there that the bad actors have on you. It's just a matter of who they want to target. So let me go kind of in detail why this is legal. Again, these are public records. So anybody who's tax savvy, and this gentleman in Florida was just going into public websites such as municipalities, like Wayne County, Oakland County offices, your city. Unfortunately, many cities, what happened, or public records, when institutions, federal institutions, started to transition from paper documents to digital, they were scanning and posting this to public, not thinking they should redact your social, maybe your date of birth, some vital information. Unfortunately, it was out there. Whether it was a screw up, whether it was lack of money, because when it's in a hard file, and for me to walk up to the counter and say, hey, I want records of so-and-so, that may not be so readily available. Unfortunately, when it's posted to their public website, again, these are public records. So the law, if somebody goes into that public system and they find, unfortunately, the law is not on your side. So that's the unfortunate part. So it's really government entities that need to better go back and now say, okay, we need to now go in, and whatever's on the public record site, we need to redact very critical information. So public records, original intent, the intent was all for good: citizens watch government, journalist accountability, court transparency, business verification. But what happened? Industrial surveillance, commercial product, Social Security and linking key, and then 3.5 sold to criminals, 272 million records. That's the unfortunate part, that there is, unfortunately, most likely a lot of people that are not aware of this. So I just want to make my clients aware and take certain steps to protect yourself. I'm not going to go through this. You want to stop the slide. The United States has very weak privacy rules when it comes to public records. The European Union, completely different. More protection for public records. So again, it's up to Congress to institute more policing and more requirements. There's privacy rules which are very restrictive, but when it comes to public records, not that restrictive. So let me share my real case study. It happened to me. So if it happens to me as a CPA, as a registered investment advisor, If it happened to me, it could happen also to you, unfortunately. So what happened? April 2nd, a fraudulent return filed under my Social Security as single filer. Remember, I'm married, happily married, with fabricated W-2 income. 2 weeks before my extension. I filed an extension April 15th. Again, as a CPA, very busy, didn't have time to complete. I still had to kind of estimate what my tax liability may be, and I sent with the extension a substantial amount of money. Now, the hacker, whoever filed fraudulent tax, I'm sure they did some research on me. Hey, this guy's a CPA. Most likely he's going to file an extension, and he's also an investment advisor, so he may be making a substantial payment with his estimate. So those are targets: CPAs, attorneys, doctors, retirees with significant assets. April 27th, IRS processed a fraudulent return. My extension payment became an overpayment on a closed account. The good news is the IRS caught this, and they sent me a check back to me. I think it was earlier than May. It just baffled me because I'm like, I've done this so many times. Why did the IRS send a check back to me? Well, I have an IRS account, so I logged in and I'm like, oh my God, somebody filed a fraudulent tax return. So immediately, pretty much that day, I took all these steps. The other thing I did is I bought LifeLock, which is additional protection monitoring system, which I would probably recommend for my clients. So what I found, it was filing single. I'm married. Fabricated income of $23,363 W-2 only. So pretty much there was zero tax liability. He was hoping that whatever I paid in, he'd be able to get a refund in his name. My business income, there was zero. Social Security, senior deduction, tax owed was zero. So he was hoping to get that refund. He was showing zero tax, and he was hoping that whatever amount I paid in, he would get a refund. Again, good news, the IRS caught this. So kind of timeline, what happened. So 4/15, they received my payment. Extension was granted. 4/27, tax return filed. I'm sorry, that's a wrong date. It was not 4/27, it was earlier. So fraudulent return processed. Sorry, it was April 2nd. The good news is the IRS flagged the account as a mismatch with prior year profile. So at least the IRS was able to catch. So again, if this can happen to me, most likely it's not just a matter of when, but it's just a matter of when somebody may choose to target you. And who would be targeted? They're going to target people who are maybe, they can do significant information background on that person. I talk on the radio. I'm known within the Polish community. I do a YouTube video. So they target CPAs, attorneys, doctors, but also retirees. So my strong recommendation is do the steps that I'm recommending. So what should you do? Now, if you found out that a fraudulent tax return was filed, please file with your paper return. Form 14039. Get a PIN, and you have to file paper file. So the other thing that I'd recommend, as we talked about, is do a credit freeze. The other thing that I did is I went to, I live in Sterling Heights. I went to Macomb County website, and there is a place where you can choose to be informed for what they call tax fraud alert. The other thing that's happening is through all of this data breach, somebody could actually do a quit claim deed and try to change ownership of your home. So that's another issue that you may want to consider. It's happening. People are losing homes. They find out, oh my God, somebody actually transferred ownership of my house to a fraudulent transfer. So lots of things. I don't want to scare people, but I just want every client to be aware and take the appropriate steps and make sure that you are protected. If you have any questions, always feel free to call me. So who's highest risk? Extension filers, such as me as a CPA, deceased individuals, children under 18, immigrants and dual status filers, seniors, retirees, non-filers, Medicaid recipients, high income earners. So they're going to target a certain group, and I don't want you as my client to go through this process. So again, high value targets, public registrations, doctors, attorneys, CPA, RA, PTIN directory, which is practitioner special ID, complex returns. And again, somebody who maybe expecting a larger refund means somebody's has significant income. So they're going to do their research and target certain people that they think they're going to get some money out of this. So anyway, thank you for watching. Again, if you have any questions, if you want to sit down and talk about this, I would strongly encourage to do these steps. Just do them. Don't wait till, unfortunately, your information, which is out there, most likely it's out there, is going to be used against you. So if you have questions, feel free to give me a call, 586-873-8156. Again, 586-873-8156. Again, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos through, as I call my tax and investment Cafe University, which we aim to educate our clients and anybody else watching. So thank you, and we will see you soon. Take care. Bye now.